What does it feel like to be erased from your own family? I used to think I knew what family meant: Sunday dinners with mom's laughter filling the kitchen, dad's bad jokes, and the way we'd all pile onto the couch for movie nights. I was 15 when that world shattered. Mom got sick, and in less than a year, she was gone. The house felt hollow, like someone had carved out its heart. Dad tried to keep things together, but I could see the cracks in his smile. I thought we'd heal together, leaning on each other like we always had. But then came Vanessa. Vanessa swept into our lives like a summer storm, sudden, dazzling, and impossible to ignore. She was everything Mom wasn't: loud, glamorous, with a laugh that demanded attention. Dad met her at some charity gala, and within months, she was at our breakfast table, her perfume lingering in the air. I didn't hate her at first. I wanted to believe she could fill the silence Mom left behind. Dad seemed happier, his eyes brighter than they'd been since the funeral. I told myself it was fine, that I could share him. But Vanessa didn't just want to share, she wanted to rewrite our story. At first, it was small things. She rearranged the living room, moving Mom's old armchair to the attic. She replaced Mom's recipe books with her own, claiming they were healthier. I'd catch her eyeing my clothes, my posters, my very presence, like I was a stain she couldn't scrub out. Dad didn't notice. He was too busy gazing at Vanessa, caught in her orbit. I tried to talk to him once, late at night, about how I missed Mom's things, her smell, her memory. He hugged me, promised nothing would change between us. But promises are fragile, and Vanessa was relentless. 6 months after she moved in, they got married. No big ceremony, just a quick trip to the courthouse. I wasn't invited. Dad said it was simpler that way, but I saw the truth in Vanessa's smirk as she flashed her new ring. I was becoming a ghost in my own home. My room, once my sanctuary, felt like a borrowed space. Vanessa's clothes started appearing in my closet, her books on my shelves. When I complained, Dad said I was being dramatic, that I needed to adjust. Adjust to what? To being invisible? Then came the baby. Vanessa announced her pregnancy with a flourish, like she'd won some grand prize. Dad was over the moon, talking about new beginnings and a fresh start. I wanted to be happy for him, but every word felt like a blade. The baby, a boy they named Ethan, arrived on a crisp October morning. The house transformed overnight. Vanessa's focus was laser-sharp on Ethan, and Dad followed her lead. My 16th birthday came and went, forgotten in the haze of diaper changes and nursery decorating. I got a text from Dad that night: "Sorry, kiddo, things are hectic. We'll celebrate soon." Soon never came. I started spending more time at the park near our house, sitting on a bench under an old oak tree, watching families pass by. I'd imagine Mom there, her warm hand on my shoulder, telling me it would be okay. But it wasn't okay. Vanessa's patience with me grew thinner, her comments sharper. "You're too old to be so needy," she'd snap when I asked Dad for help with homework. "This house isn't a hotel," she said when I came home late from school, even though I'd been at the library, trying to escape her. Dad never corrected her. He just looked tired, torn between his old life and his new one. One night, I overheard them arguing. Vanessa's voice was low, venomous. "She's holding you back, Tom. We have Ethan now. We're a family. She's practically an adult, let her figure things out." I waited for Dad to defend me, to say I was his daughter, his family. But he didn't. He mumbled something about balance, and the conversation ended. That was the moment I knew, I wasn't just losing my place, I was being erased. Then came Mrs. Carter. She was my English teacher, a woman with graying hair and eyes that seemed to see right through you. One day, after I turned in a half-finished essay, she asked me to stay after class. I braced for a lecture, but instead, she handed me a cup of tea and asked, "What's going on, Lily?" I don't know why, but I broke. I told her everything: Mom's death, Vanessa's takeover, the baby, Dad's silence. She listened, really listened, and when I was done, she didn't offer empty promises. She gave me a journal and said, "Write it down. Your story matters, even if they've forgotten." That journal became my lifeline, a place where I could be seen. Mrs. Carter didn't stop there. She started checking in on me, slipping me books about grief and resilience, inviting me to join the school's writing club. At first, I resisted. I didn't want pity. But the club was different. It was a group of misfits, kids who'd been through their own storms, pouring their hearts onto pages. For the first time in months, I felt like I belonged somewhere. I wrote about Mom, about the ache of losing her, about the betrayal of being pushed aside. My words weren't just catharsis, they were proof I still existed. The twist came in spring. Vanessa decided I was too much trouble and suggested I move out after I turned 17. She framed it as independence, but I knew what it was: eviction. Dad didn't fight her. He handed me a check for a few $100s and said, "You're strong, Lily. You'll be fine." Fine? I was a kid, not even out of high school, and my own father was cutting me loose. I packed a bag and left, crashing on a friend's couch, my journal tucked under my arm. But Mrs. Carter wasn't done with me. She found out what happened and asked me how Anne showed up at my friend's house with an offer. Her sister ran a small bookstore in a nearby town, and they needed help. There was a spare room above the shop, nothing fancy, but it was mine if I wanted it. I'd work part-time, finish school, and figure out what came next. It wasn't charity, she said, it was a chance. I took it. The bookstore was a world away from Vanessa's sterile house. It smelled of old paper and coffee, with creaky floors and shelves that seemed to hold stories older than time. I worked the register, shelved books, and read until my eyes ached. Slowly, I started to rebuild. I got into a community college, majoring in creative writing, pouring my pain into stories that made others cry, laugh, feel. Mrs. Carter's sister, Ellen, became a kind of surrogate aunt, tough but kind, always slipping me extra coffee money. I saw Dad once, a year later, at a grocery store. He was pushing a cart with Ethan, now a toddler, babbling happily. Vanessa was nowhere in sight. He looked older, his eyes heavy with something like regret. He hugged me, said he was proud of me, but the words felt hollow. I wanted to scream, to ask why he'd let me go, but I didn't. I'd learned something by then: family isn't just blood. It's the people who see you, who fight for you, even when you can't fight for yourself. Mrs. Carter was at my college graduation, clapping louder than anyone. Ellen was there too, sneaking me a slice of her famous carrot cake. I'd made it not because of Dad, or Vanessa, or even Mom's memory, but because I'd chosen to keep going. I still carry the journal Mrs. Carter gave me, its pages filled with my story, my truth. I was tossed aside like trash, but I wasn't trash. I was Lily, and I was enough.